Welcome to the Real Property Show, where we talk about building, buying, and selling residential real estate. I'm Brian Freeman, and welcome to the show. Hey everybody, hope you're doing really good today. Today I wanted to share with you how you can use a cash out refinance on your primary home that you're living in now to help you fund a construction loan for a new home. Or this can also apply if you are having an appraisal done on a new construction project and maybe the appraisal came in a little bit low and you need to come up with some extra cash. How do you do that to offset the cost so you can actually get that construction loan from the bank? So I want to give you an example of a project we're actually working on now and show you some exact numbers so you can kind of get a feel for how this could look. So this particular project, where we're at with this is that the lender package has been submitted to the lender. So essentially what that is we've given them a cost breakdown, we've given them specifications for the home, we've given them plans for the home, and they're able to now go out and do an appraisal and come back with a value of what this home would be built or what it would be after it's built. So appraisal has not been done on this. We run some comparables on this property, and we think the value after it's been built is going to be about $1.3 million. So roughly about 1.3. And I want to run some numbers out for you based on that. So the actual building costs are going to be about 1.2. So there's some higher end finishes in this. Sometimes you don't get the best ROI when you do higher end finishes on a resale value. So sometimes you have to come up with extra money to make the difference, and that's why this one is what it is. So if you're at 1.2, you got a value of 1.3. Here's how it would look. The bank will not loan more than an 80% loan to value for the construction loan. So what that does is you take the $1.3 million, find out what 20% down would be on that, or the equity position they'd have to have in the property, which would be a maximum loan amount that they would lend at $1,040,000, assuming that they would have to have a $260,000 equity position in that property. Okay, so now when the bank looks at that, they're going to look at, they're going to count the actual land that you have plus any prepaids that you have for construction costs. So if they needed $260,000 down on this property, what that would consist of is this particular property is paid for way back when, purchased for $130,000. So the base is $130,000 for the land, and then they've had prepaid construction costs of $26,000 roughly. So based on that, they have $156,000 already into this property that the bank will count towards that $260,000. So that means you have to take $260,000 that they have to have down into this property, and then minus the $156,000 that's already been paid. They're then going to have to come up with $104,000 in order to make up the difference to get this project to move forward. So they'll have to get put that cash in, or get that cash to the construction lender prior to the close of escrow, and then that went before they fund that loan. All right. So here's a scenario on the primary residence. Primary residence currently living in is roughly around $800,000. Okay. They have approximately a $400,000 loan that's a first mortgage on this property. So that equates out to about a 50% loan to value. So if you're going to go get a cash out refinance on your primary residence, you're looking at probably about a maximum of about 80% loan to value that you could get on that property. Now, they only need $104,000. So they do a cash out refinance on this property. They can put fixed rate debt on it at a low interest rate because it's on a primary residence. They'll be at a loan amount. They were at $400,000 now. They'd be roughly, if you're not considering closing costs and that, you'd be about $504,000. So you take them and then take that $504,000, divide that by your $800,000, and that would give you about a 63% loan to value on their primary residence, which is well below the 80% that you could go up to for a cash out refinance. So they can take that, get that $104,000 of their property, they re-amortize that loan at that new rate. It's going to increase their payment. So as long as they can cover that when they're planning on moving to their new property that they're building, and they can cover that with the rent that's on that property, they could still have a cash flowing property but they're able to pull out that cash to actually use that on their new project when they're building their new house. So this all works. You also got to look at the debt to income ratio and make sure that that's not an issue for the client as well. But a lot of lenders will actually look at, hey, they're moving to another property, they know what they're doing with that money, and they'll look at the possibility that they look at that as a rental property. There is banks that do that. This particular bank does do that, the one that we're working with, and they'll count that towards their debt to income ratio. So when they look at that rental income coming in, take 25% of that, and then that'll help them to offset that mortgage on their primary residence. So all right, so I hope that helps you understand a little bit what you could do with a cash out refinance if you need to come up with a down payment, or you need to come up with just a little bit more cash to make that construction loan work. So, all right, so thanks for your time today, and have an excellent rest of your day. Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the Real Property Show today. If you'd like more information on how to buy land, how to actually buy a home, how to build a home, how to build an ADU, or how to remodel your home, you can click below here in the show notes where you can get a ton of information on our website. You can also visit our website at tfgonline.com and visit our resources page, and there is a ton of information there that you can get for free. Also, check out our FAQ page on that site. We have a ton of information. So thank you for your time, and have a wonderful rest of your day.